Hey guys, I'm Ashley and today I'm going to show you how to make this custom Santa hat on a Sentro knitting machine here on Chip Builds. So let's check it out. Now the very first step in using a knitting machine is you need to cast on your yarn, and so just make sure that you're starting on pin number 1. For me that is right after the white pin. So you want to leave a bit of a yarn tail, and then you're just going to weave the yarn behind every other pin. So you're just going to go over, under, all the way around, and you do this slowly until you get back to the very first pin. This is the most important part, so really take your time, otherwise you'll have to start over. So then once you get to the white pin, then you can put your yarn into the yard guide and then choose your tension. I typically do the loosest tension for this. Now for my Sentro knitting machine, I did add an aftermarket row counter. You can get them on Amazon pretty cheaply, just because my row counter was skipping a lot of rows, and so my hats were coming out at all crazy kind of lengths. So once you've casted on your yarn, then you can just go to town and crank away. You don't want to go too crazy fast, otherwise you do risk dropping stitches, but honestly this is one of the easiest hobbies to get into. And so I noticed my yarn tail was getting a little short, so I just kind of pulled it down just to make sure that it didn't get sucked up underneath. So I did 3D print an adapter to add to an electric drill just to make it go by a little faster and save my arm from some pain. Now if you are going to use a drill adapter, you have to use a drill that is 4 volts or less. Anything more than that is going to just tear apart your gears and melt them and merge them together. I do have the drill adapter in my Etsy shop if you're interested in one for yourself. So once I was getting to the end of my row count for this red section, my cat Princess decided to come help me finish it up and demanded some cuddles. Once she was taken care of, she decided she would supervise the process of changing over to our new color. So we've done 70 rows of red, and now we're going to put in our white faux fur yarn. And so once you hit that 70th row, you just cut the red yarn and lay it down. I do tie a loose knot when I add the new color. That way I don't drop the stitch and that I won't have to start over in my beanie. Now with the faux fur yarn, you do need to go really slow. It's easy to strip the fur off of the thin cording. So for our white section, we're going to do 30 rows. And so for this white section, again, I am just using my hand and not the drill, just to make sure we have no issues. So once we've done those 30 rows, we can go back and add our red rows again. For our second layer of red, we're doing 70 rows. And I just finished that up with my drill. So once all our rows were done, I cut a really long tail of our final color. And then now we're going to cast off on the machine, and what you do is you just crank all the way around one row right before you pass the white peg, and we're going to thread our yarn through a long needle, and we're going to slowly pick up a stitch one by one to the left of that white needle. And so do this part very slowly. This is the second most important part of making the beanie, because if you drop these stitches, then you're going to ruin your beanie and have to start over. So I go nice and slow and just really take my time. But you just want to make sure you have a really long yarn tail, because if it's too short, then you're also going to mess up your beanie. I got these kind of curved needles off of Amazon, and it does make the process a little easier than just a straight needle in my opinion. So once you've picked up your last stitch, you can cinch the two ends of the beanies together. Then we can turn our beanie inside out and really tighten up those knots between the two different colors. And really we just want to secure that in place. So now it's time to make the little pom pom. I took my smaller knitting machine and I put the faux fur yarn in there, and again I'm just casting on really slowly and putting it in the loosest tension again. So for this I did about 20 to 25 rows, somewhere in the middle there. I just had to count manually because there's no counter on this one, and again I did it by hand and not with the drill, just because I didn't want to ruin this yarn. So then we're going to do that same process. We're going to pick up each stitch with our long yarn tail, and once this is done we can cinch up one end of it. And I didn't have any stuffing, so I just took a lot of my yarn scraps and I just used that as filler on the inside, and it honestly worked perfectly. And this is a great way to reuse your scraps and not throw them in the trash. So once that was full, then I took the two ends and tied them together in a secure knot, and then I put them through my needle and put it through the very top of the beanie. Then we could tie a knot and secure it to the hat. Well guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you thought this was kind of cool. I had no idea that you could actually put the faux fur yarn into the knitting machine. I thought for sure it wasn't going to work. The only thing I will say is if you're going to use it, be careful and just go really slow, because you can't really tell if you're dropping a stitch or not just based on how the yarn is. But I decided to make this because I saw a bunch of people making their own versions on TikTok, on YouTube and everything, and I was like, I gotta make one of those. I really love how this hat turned out, and it's just a good way to spread some Christmas cheer. So thanks for watching, guys, and Merry Christmas.